Welcome to the Voncast show, bright early Saturday morning. Today I got with me Thomas and Nina. How's it going?
What's up?
Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. Where are y'all from? Like, what's Pinoy news update, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Talk to us about that.
Pinoy News Update is it's a news program that we started with a hint of comedy, sort of like a Saturday Night Live
Weekend update.
with
the
weekend
style
update
of that.
style update.
Very
But
cool.
we are branching off, and it has so many facets now into doing interviews, to doing food locations.
Yeah, we have big dreams for it.
That's good.
Episode 2 is just about to come out.
Mhm.
Got the little cousin working on it, editing
Oh,
it.
nice.
So it's been a real big collaboration.
Keeping in the family.
Yeah, bringing in our friends, the
Uh-huh.
family, of course, and.
Y'all are related?
No.
Oh no! We feel like we are
Yeah,
now.
I was like, yeah, they're related. Cool. So let's go back to the beginning. Where did y'all grow up?
I was born and raised in Tokyo, Japan.
What?
To a Filipino mother and an Irish, American, Japanese father.
Okay.
Born and raised there for 18 years. Went to Loyola Marymount University here in Los Angeles.
Okay.
Studied film and television, and been back and forth in Japan, and then started working at the arts.
I just had to let him start with that. I'm like, Japan, take me. So I was born and raised in the Bay Area.
Hey, Bay Area.
Avon. It's so funny we never met.
Rest in peace, Matt Drake.
Right?
Yeah, talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really funny that fate brought us together.
Yeah.
A mutual friend, Jessica Lee.
Jessica Lee, hello.
Shout out, my sister from
Yes,
another
Jessica.
mister. Yeah, I grew up there. We went to the same high school, Monte Vista,
Know this.
in Danville, Alamo
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
So funny, and we never crossed paths until now. And now creativity has brought us
Yeah.
together.
Looking back, remember what they called it Chinatown? Were you there when they called it Chinatown?
Oh God.
Looking back, like, that's kind of racist, but we all just went along with it. Like, oh, let's go to Chinatown. And we never thought, looking
You
back.
never thought twice.
No.
Yeah,
no.
because you were just like, oh, my people. I mean, it's true. This
Yeah,
is Chinatown.
looking
But
back,
wait,
it's
I'm not
like-
Chinese.
Yeah, and that was kind of racist.
I'm a
But,
third Chinese. But.
Yeah. Okay, so Bay Area, but going back to Tokyo, what was it like growing up? Not fully Japanese. Was it like difficult or kind of just?
It was interesting because, my grandma's full Japanese.
Okay.
So I'm quarter.
Right.
But I was born and raised there, so I know I'm bilingual in Japanese.
Right.
I know the language. But the outside, I don't look Japanese, so it was always interesting whenever I spoke Japanese there, and I was
Yeah.
like living there. They're like, "Whoa, you can speak Japanese," and I'm like, "Whoa, I've been living here my whole life."
Right.
Like, it's crazy. But then when I came out to college out here, people immediately associated with me being completely Japanese, and I'm like, I don't look completely Japanese. I don't know where you're coming from, but
Right.
it's not like any offense or anything. It's just
Right.
interesting. I felt like I was part of one place, but not really, and that kind of.
Yeah.
It's really interesting the labels that you get put upon. You
Yeah,
know, by the way you
definitely.
look, how no one can tell. I get what are you a lot. Like I'm a Pokemon. I'm like Filipino.
Oh, wow, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that too. Lately, at work, I've been getting like, "Are you Thai?"
Mm.
I'm like, "Oh, I guess I can see that," but it's interesting. So, did you know any Tagalog when you grew up in Japan, or not so much?
A little bit. My mom's fluent, so she spoke to me a little bit in Tagalog, but I just never had education or just learned from it. I think with English and Japanese it was just like a handful. Learning Japanese too as a language.
Mhm.
But it was I was aware of it, and just,
Right.
yeah.
What were your aspirations growing up? Did y'all ever want to do like always want to do entertainment in that kind of field, or did you have any other aspirations?
I knew I always wanted to do entertainment.
Yeah,
Like
that's good.
it changed as I got older though. I thought I was gonna be a pop star at
Right.
first, you know.
You can still be a pop
karaoke
star.
mic. Working on it.
Yeah.
And I did musical theater, started there.
Okay.
That's where the seed was planted. And then I started coming out to, my parents were really supportive.
That's great.
Yeah, they weren't the typical, like, go to law school. Like, I was peer pressured to do karaoke
Really?
and, like, perform at every single family party. And, like, I was kind of forced into it at first and then, grew into a love. And And my parents would take me back and forth to LA for auditions and drive me
Wow.
from the Bay. So that gave me a really good sense of, oh my God, I can do this.
Wow.
You know? And then I moved here and discovered writing, discovered
Right.
stand-up comedy, discovered Pinoy News Update. Really just getting in tune with my creative voice now and creating for the first time at this point.
Wow. And what about you, sir?
Just kind of, it's really, I mean, same with my parents as well. I was never forced into being a lawyer or a doctor or anything. My mom was, I mean, she's a Filipino, but she was super supportive in the entertainment as well. She's like, no, like she would take me like on Mondays. She would take me to my art class after school. This was like when I was in elementary and middle school. And she's like, on Tuesday you do your violin, and then on Wednesday you have your piano classes, and then on Thursday you have your calligraphy lesson. So I was like pretty much booked up
Wow.
from Monday to
cultured.
Friday. And it was amazing. I look back at it, and I mean, I don't play the violin right now, or I'm not as good as the piano as I wish I would be, but that being soaked into the creativeness when you're at a young age just
Right.
made me fall in love with entertainment in general, and this is why we're here.
That's awesome. You know, I guess a typical thing I would hear often from friends or people on the show would be something along the lines of becoming a nurse in that medical route. I think it's becoming more accepted that you don't always have to be in those programs, but I do understand and respect the stability of it. I think oftentimes our family may just want the best for us when it comes to, you know, in the long run, right? I mean, I love being in the creative industry as much as y'all do, I'm sure, creative writing, music, or entertainment in general. But I guess what they say about nursing is that it's stable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Put in 20 years of your life, which is, you know, 1/3, 1/4 of your life, you're set. You know, so I do understand that, but it's also great that your family do support your passions outside of STEM stuff.
I totally understand that mentality, especially like the immigrant mentality coming here and like having the hard work. Like
Yes.
it's so funny, like sometimes me and my little brother joke, it's like we actually haven't worked hard enough to get like our future family to where we are right now. Like the hard work that our grandparents put in, the groundwork that they hit it hard running, like building a life,
Right.
like putting all my like aunts and uncles and my mom and dad through college, you know, like that. So I understand where that mentality comes from of you need to go to school, you know, like my grandpa Felix, rest in peace. I remember school was always a big thing
Yeah,
to him.
I mean, even if we did, I mean, the creative part, like when my siblings were out, the important thing was like you always still had to get good grades,
Right,
and, like
right.
do well in school and
Right.
just put in the effort and just have a solid foundation of education, and which is why, you know, I still got a bachelor degree,
Wow.
and just like went to LMU and got that whole education and not just kind of in the entertainment or, you know, creativity.
Wow. Going back to college, where did you go to college?
I did not.
Wow,
I went.
that's awesome.
That's actually the part I was getting to is
Right.
my grandpa Felix on his deathbed. I remember I was like, I will go to school. Like I'm gonna make you proud, and that was always kind of like a thing with me because like I really do want to make him proud and be the hard worker that he was.
Right.
You know, but I discovered 3 Arts Entertainment. Been there for about 5.5 years, and I discovered a new route. Like I totally call being at the front desk of that production company my entertainment 101. Like I never got the bachelor's degree, so I got it through this experience of sitting there, watching the clients come in and write their own projects and seeing things come to life, having access to the scripts and to the business side that really has taught me so much. And so I just really want to stress that there is no one way, you know, and just to allow yourself to discover those other options and find that.
Yeah, wow, that's awesome. I mean, you know, coming from where we came from, like Monte Vista, you think that everyone goes to college.
Yeah.
Or UC DVC.
Yeah, oh, I went to DVC.
You went to DVC?
That's for
Diablo
sure.
Valley College, yeah. Was Loyola Marymount your first pick?
I did all the big schools.
Okay.
I did 2 batches of colleges. One was just for a history major
Right.
because I love history, and the other was strictly film production. Within the film production, it was, you know, the big schools like UCLA, USC, and there was also Chapman and LMU. The big schools I didn't get in because I did not have as a high SAT score. But other than that, LMU just gave me a good scholarship as well, and they immediately accepted my application, and they were like excited to have me. So I was like, I should go to a school because I got waitlisted at USC, but I wanted to go to a school that was like willing and wanting me to be there, and I love the size of it as well.
Right. And you went from Japan to LMU?
LMU, yep.
That's pretty cool.
But I visited LA
Okay.
and stuff, and I have relatives in New York.
We
Oh,
could
okay.
have met because LMU was one of the schools I got accepted to.
Oh
like I
my
applied.
gosh.
LMU?
Yeah,
Damn, okay.
but then I remember my dad, we didn't fill out financial aid in time. So I was like, DVC it is.
Yeah, you know, it's tricky with those, right? Like, you have to, there's certain deadlines and whatnot.
Yeah.
But how long did you go to DVC for?
I went for 2.5 years.
Okay.
And I was going for a theater major.
Okay.
Yeah, and but I was just kind of disillusioned because it was kind of cliquey to me, and in the sense that like it was just like, oh, you had to know someone and be in the group to get the
Right.
role. And already coming here for auditions, I was just kind of like, ugh, I'm like, I don't really feel like doing this all over again. I'd rather just drop everything and come here. And so,
Right.
yeah, I took the chance.
Yeah, same. I love the Bay. I think I love the people more. I still have a couple of friends I talked to in high school, but not so much. It seems like a lot of people moved here, went our separate ways. So how did y'all start Pinoy News Update? I frankly don't see too many the youth really interested in like the modern Filipino news, Filipino, like not Filipino American, but Filipino news. How did y'all get into that?
Well, we love comedy.
Oh, okay.
And I just remember, it's so funny, like when I first met you, it took a while for me to even, he's like, yeah, I'm half Filipino. I was like, what? I didn't
Yeah.
know. I was like, you didn't know? I was like, a bad Filipino radar, I guess, on me. But I, you know, we love Joe Coy. I love Happy Slip. I love Mary Grant the Filipina. There's so much strong Filipino comedy out there, and so I decided to take a stab at it, and I did this showcase where you have to make up characters for NBC, and one of my characters was a Filipina salsa instructor who
Okay.
teaches at the YMCA.
Very cool. That's interesting.
Yeah, and he saw it and he was like, "Oh my God, this is awesome! Like we should do something together."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, those are just great guest correspondents on a show. Like, you could be characters. And then we're like, oh, Saturday Night Live. And then we were like, oh, we should do something with comedy with that. And that just morphed into Pinoy News Update.
It was
Okay.
amazing. Like
Yeah.
we wanted to do a full satire, just like satire.
Yeah.
We were going to do the news as characters at first.
Oh, okay.
But then you sent me an article. He sent me just an article about like Filipinos, like a comment, you know,
Yeah.
in our PC culture, like, oh, someone said this about a Filipino and it's controversial. And I was like, oh my God, like, he's like, yeah, we should talk about this. I'm like, what if we just made it a show like Weekend Update?
Yeah.
Okay.
And now we have like the millennial Filipino point of view, like
Yeah.
the new generation mixed with, you know, the older, like, you know, comedic stereotype,
Right.
the tita
Yeah.
and the lolo and the lola. Like, I'm like, and they could be the guest correspondent, like, you know, Stefan in Weekend Update.
Oh, very cool. Okay. Did y'all grow up or have any influence, like, from watching TFC and a lot of Filipino channels like that?
Yeah, it was definitely running in the background
What
for
is
sure.
it?
Yeah. the you know, the dramas and the comedies. Mine was mostly like the game shows, like Chris Aquino hosting, or Wow Wow Wee.
Oh my God, yes, Wow Wow
It was
Wee.
really, like after when I get home from school, it's just like, I mean, it's also kind of heartbreaking because it's like you see all these, you see the people who are really struggling on the show and they get the money and they like try to do better, and it was just like, it just made me realize, you know, there's still a lot of poverty out there, but they like mixed it in with, you know, a game show, so that's kind of cool.
Right, right.
Yeah, actually, we have another Filipino coworker named Kayla Correa, and she was telling me about a show like that now that's currently on, about how this celebrities in the Philippines, they go do a house tour of someone that lives in, like, you know, one of the poorer sides of town, like the shanty towns. But she's like, it's really interesting because it's not here in America, everyone would look down on that and be like, "Oh my God, you're using them, you're
Exploiting
exploiting them."
them, yeah.
Exactly. And she's like, "But there, it's not like that because it's a fact of life." So she's like, it's a really interesting tone. I haven't personally seen it yet.
Yeah.
Because
But-
that show Willie did, right? Like I never thought as exploiting them, but it's just like helping them. But in
Right.
the game show.
Yeah, it's
but
bringing
if you-
awareness almost.
If you did it here, though, people would be.
Right, like, you're using them for money. It's just like a different cultural thing. And
Right.
we were talking about this in the car because you were going over the questions.
Yeah, sure.
Excited. I'm like, one of the shows that my mom always had in the background was, I don't remember what it was called, but it had a woman, it was a drama, and she would get real letters sent in from people in the Philippines that are dealing with like the struggles and the heartaches. And they would dramatize it into the show while she's reading the letter. And we were talking about how it's like almost like a way to express and cope because they have real problems there.
Yes.
Like, is my child gonna eat? Like, how am I gonna get this money? Can I keep this job? And like, so it's almost beautiful, like how artistic and expression, like they have such expression there. Like they are telling their stories.
Right.
And actually, one more comment.
Yeah, of course.
I went to an acting studio out here, the Ivana Chubbuck studio, and she actually is one of the only acting teachers that has traveled to the Philippines and has now started a program out there.
Wow.
And she said, I will tell you this, they are the most committed people to their talent. She's like, there was a line out the door, like in like early hours of morning, because they all want to act, they all want to tell their story.
That's amazing.
And I just think that's such a testament to the beauty of perseverance out there and living.
You know, oh man, a lot of Filipinos are very sad when Anthony Bourdain passed.
Oh
Yeah, I recall Uncle Tony, and I liked his show because he never came off as exploited. He never did. He never exploited other cultures. In fact, he was very appreciative of the cultures. And one that really stood out to me, I'm sure for both of y'all, was the Filipino culture. He was saying that we were one of the most nicest and hardworking and hospitable cultures he's ever experienced. He's ever been in. So when he passed, I was pretty bummed. But I just like seeing. I like to see how a Westerner viewed Philippines as. It's how you said, very dedicated and hardworking. Did you have much exposure to Philippines or Filipino culture when you were in Japan?
Yeah, I was hyper aware growing
Okay.
up Filipino. My mom always, told me I should be proud to be a Filipino, and so that was really appreciative of that. Also the Philippines is like our neighbor from Japan, so it's like a 3-hour flight. So I've gone there multiple times and visited where my mom grew up, and so yeah, it was awesome having that influence in my life.
Is there where you grew up, or in general, is there a big Filipino community in Japan or in certain areas?
Yeah, there's definitely a big community, especially the nurses. Also, we have from the Philippines, they would come over and help at the elderlies, and so there's definitely
a lot of people that work out there and send money.
send money back
Yeah,
to the Philippines.
releases,
Yeah,
yeah.
so there's a huge community out there.
Okay, very cool. I've never been in Japan. I've always wanted to go. So.
Same.
Yeah.
Take us.
Yeah.
So you said y'all thought of doing satire and whatnot. What was the process of starting up Pinoy News Update? Because I imagine you just didn't show up one day and it's like, hey, here's empty production studio. Let's do something. Talk to
We
us about the
definitely have
process.
a writing process. So we start off with the headlines. We find them online, and then we see what kind of comedic twist that we can put in.
Right.
We're both stand-up comedians, so it's basically like writing a joke,
Yeah.
set up, punchline.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And it's finding the right headlines too, and there's some ones that.
Like, how can we turn this? It's so funny.
Yeah.
I'd send him some headlines. He's like, "That's too sad."
I was like, I don't know if we could do that as a headline. That's just straight news.
Because I imagine it must be a little tough now with what's going on to find some sort of comedic light or silver lining with everything that's going on.
Especially in the Philippines.
Yeah, especially in the Philippines.
It's actually crazy because towing that fine line, even with some of our more conservative relatives.
Yeah. We've had some conservative friends too. They're like, are you making fun of Duterte? And I was like, obviously we are.
Yeah, like,
And if we are,
Yeah,
so
and yeah, so
I know,
we did
and
not.
I actually showed family at Christmas, and I have an uncle that works in the Philippines, and he was just like, you know, it's a matter of life and death there. It's dangerous there. He's like, I can't repost this. Some of them might get in trouble. And
Right.
I know that it's such a sticky situation, and so we've had conversations about that.
Yeah.
Because like on Saturday Night Live, they show both sides.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we definitely want to be flexible in that, but I think, you know, I'm the person that says you could joke about anything. I really believe that comedy is a way to persevere through life.
Right.
There's a really cool show that also made me realize we're on the right track. I watched this new documentary on Netflix called Larry Charles' Dangerous World of Comedy, and he's kind of like the Anthony Bourdain of comedy. Like, he goes to different places around the world, like the most dangerous places in the world where comedy is life and death, just like joking about Duterte in the Philippines would be. And he shows these comedians that are there and thriving. Like, you don't think of comedians in Iraq, but there are.
Right.
And like
And
a
they
lot
do
of them
stand-up
had
comedy,
news shows.
like,
They had a lot of satire, and I was just like, no, you know what? We're awakening a new way of thinking and like speaking up and making comedy. Like, I think I'm just so big on social activism through comedy.
I had no idea both of y'all are stand-up comedians. Talk to me about that. How did y'all get into that, and how that's going?
Actually, Nina was the one who was like, you definitely should do stand-up comedy, and I saw all her posts on Instagram. I mean, I've always had a calling. I mean, I did also study theater in college, so I just loved being like performing, but stand-up comedy was just like an avenue where, you know, you didn't have to do the auditions to be on stage, you didn't have to do this, and I was like, you know what, I can take the mic for 5 minutes and be on stage and like kind of perform. And so that was like the beauty in it. And then when I just saw someone else doing it, Nina, doing it so great. She has a show tonight, so you should check her out.
Where at?
Springbok. It's it's a bar. It's called the Van Nuys Comedy Club.
Okay.
Yeah, come through. I'll have a lot of my fil-am creative peeps there. We just started working with an organization called fil-am Creative, and
That sounds so familiar. fil-am Creative. That sounds really familiar.
you probably maybe you've been to events, but it's really cool. They're an organization that they bring together fil-am creatives, and they're all about bringing awareness of Filipinos in the media, which is exactly what our program's trying to do, and what I think your program's trying to do. We're all the branch here.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think, backtrack on that. fil-am Creative, do you know someone named Tiffany Porter?
I don't think so.
Okay, I think she follows the page, but I think she's part of that group. I'm not sure, like the Hollywood. I don't even know. There's so many like up and coming Filipinos. They're like, yeah. But I think she follows your page. I think she might be affiliated with that group.
Oh,
But-
yeah. Maybe I do know her.
But back to it though. I think, like you said, we're kind of like branching our own way, own lanes. I think it's cool, right? Our families and ancestors like paved the way. They worked so hard for us to get here. I think deep down, by doing what we want to do, is honoring their sacrifice, right? Now, if we just wanted to do, if we just did like what we're expected to do and like not really chase our passions, I think that's when it does disservice.
Right.
Because they didn't, to me, they didn't sacrifice everything just so we can kind of do what they did, right?
Yeah.
They wanted us to be here, so it's the land of free, land of opportunity. So,
And in a way, we are thriving because even though it's not what they thought we were going to do, I really still think we're on the right track and we're doing it in our own way. I remember looking back at my grandparents on both sides, and they were both involved in Filipino American organizations here in their community, and that really made me excited because like that's how I feel now, like with this project and having fil-am Creative, like trying to like advance the image of Filipinos in the media. Because being an actress that's auditioned since I was 13 here, I always go for Korean, Japanese,
Really?
Chinese, everything but me. You know what I mean? And like I feel like I go in the audition and I just look like the other. Like I can't walk into a room of Japanese people and look Japanese, you know? Even and I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of this. Like I want to write myself in the narrative now. Like I want to be my who I am. Like, you know, and not be I've gone for Filipino roles that it's like, oh, she's the prisoner, she's the, you know what I mean? Like she's the underground, you know, worker. And,
Right.
and I'm like, there's more to it than that. And that's how I found stand-up, because like I wanted to write. And I'm like, a whole script seems really big. I'm like, what if I find my voice through comedy? You know, I can handle talking for 5 minutes.
Right.
Like, so.
What's it like being on the stage doing stand-up for X amount of time? And for me, I make music, so it's, I kind
that's awesome.
know there's a beat in the background, I know what to say, but monologue for 5 minutes or how long, what's that like?
It's less daunting than you would think.
Really?
I mean, we always have conversations, and it's just formulating them in a structure, in a way. I mean, loosely, very loosely. I mean, there's so many different ways of doing stand-up. Like, each person has their own unique ways. I mean, you should watch, like, Nanette. That's like a different way of doing stand-up. Hannah Gatsby's way. Or if you see like Sarah Silverman, or if you see
Or there's one-liners,
yeah,
like
one-liners.
Mitch
If you do
Hedberg.
if you see Jim Gaffigan, there's just so many different ways. It's just what speaks to you and how you want to do it. I mean, I love just storytelling and just talking about my experiences and putting like a comedic tone to it and presenting it comedically. Yeah, so I mean, there's just different ways to do it.
I turned to you because I really love, we're always like duels, because you, like my friend, one of my best friends that I did Miss Saigon with in the Bay, he's from the Bay, Aiden Park, he's the one that pushed me into comedy. And he was very of the like, just do it, just don't, who cares, just like get up there, it's like set up punchline. But like as an actor, you're like, I want to take a class, like I want to know. And like the Second City class, like I loved like the writing process you got from that, like how you write jokes.
Yeah.
Like what if you write for 5 minutes, like
yeah, there was just like
that.
a process that I learned, and it was like write for 5 minutes, then free writing for 5 minutes, then for like the next 7 minutes you like delve into more the emotional aspect of it, and then like the next 3 minutes you like find the punchlines and like the funny aspects, and then the last 2 minutes you kind of make it into structure. So you can honestly write like a bit like in 30 minutes.
Yeah. And
on anything.
you just like get on the stage and like just try it out.
Yeah.
Now, when you write bits and sketches, do you have someone next to you to tell you if it's funny or not? Because you can think it's funny, right? Like I can think a situation's funny, but then when I say it, when I verbalize it, it's not that funny.
Well, I mean, we have each other, which is like such a great process, and we also now with fil-am Creative and being collaborative partners, and also Charles, who's also on our, and Vince, and so we kind of have like a brain trust as well, so that we can bounce off our ideas. Helps being on stage too, and just trying out material, so then you kind of pick up on what you think is funny.
Okay.
We'll actually be on the phone at work and be running the, we'll call each other and be like, we'll be reading the script and be like, oh, no, cut this. Because you can tell just saying it out loud.
Right.
It's so much different in your head, you know?
Yeah,
when you read it, and you're like, oh, it's different when you read it out loud.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Sometimes I write lyrics, I'm like, damn, this sounds like something Jay-Z would say. And I sit, I'm like, man, that was trash. But that's interesting. So, I saw on the page that y'all go to the Filipino Appreciation Night. What's it called?
Oh, the Heritage Night?
Yeah.
Filipino Heritage Night.
At the Clippers.
Clippers.
You know, it's so funny. There's a previous guest that went. We had to reschedule. It was around the time I think y'all went. Ralph DeGala. He was in Master Chef, I think. It's one of those Food Network shows.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
But he was one of the only Filipino contestants. But back to it, what's Filipino Heritage Night like? I've always wanted to go, but I've always had to work. It seems like a lot of fun. Can you describe what that's like?
It was really fun. We found tickets for $30. And we were just like, this was when PNU we just had released the first episode.
Yeah.
So we were just like, we want to hit the ground running, and we want to like try to get interviews there and just chronicle the night.
Yeah.
This is like the best, most perfect situation. And Charles Gray, the one from fil-am Creative that we work with, he was doing some camera work on the floor for the event. So we were like, oh my God, like get us in. And it was so cool. Like all the Filipinos out. Like they had
just having fun, and they were wearing the Filipino flag on their jersey,
Mm-hmm.
and they had like a game afterwards with fil-am talent.
Mhm.
So it was like a basketball game after the actual Clippers game, which was cool.
They had a show in the middle, the halftime show with Apple Diop,
Wow.
Yeah.
singing.
All the
He
vibes.
sang Bebo.
Yeah.
Like, Bebo, meh.
I heard that's a phrase you really can't say all the time to women. Bebo, it's not like a.
What does it mean?
I think it's like it's not derogatory, but like it can be seen as like not always good. It's not like a it's not like a formal thing to say.
Is he basically calling us hoe?
No, I think it depends how you say it and who you say it to.
Is it like bading?
I don't know. Like you can't call like a grandma Bebo, but I guess it depends. But I heard that in my Asian Am class. My teacher, he's Filipino, and he says it's not something you can always say. Just kind of be careful.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what it means.
Interesting.
I don't know what it means either. But that's cool that he kind of like puts on for Filipino culture. I mean, there's a lot of Filipinos in the industry, just more like behind the scenes. Like DJ E-Man from Power 106 and KMEL. He's Filipino. He's like the music director.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, there's a bunch of Filipinos in the background. Just not too many prominent actors, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just representation in front of the camera.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like.
Do you know the rapper Pilo?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
He's awesome. You know, that scene.
He was at Heritage Night.
He was.
Yeah.
Ruby Ibarra too, huh? No. But I can see him being there. Pilo's cool from the Bay. That's so awesome. Seeing him, he's like full on Filipino. Like wow, that guy.
Yeah.
Pilo, that guy. It's really cool. The first movie I saw with a Filipino lead, or not Filipino lead, with a Filipino actor was Hook. Rufio.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Dante Bosco.
You're right.
Yeah.
I love him. I remember he was one of the very first Filipino American actors that I even saw in an all Filipino cast kind of mainstream movie, The Debut.
Debut,
The
yeah. I
Debut.
remember that. That was good.
I loved that movie.
That was really good. Did you have a debut?
I did not.
Me neither. I mean, obviously, but yeah, it's more like Filipino tradition, right?
Yeah.
I didn't
That's
know
the thing. My parents were very second generation. Like
Yeah.
they, when they got here, it was about assimilation. So
Yeah.
it's just like they were forced to just have English,
American.
and they're just as American as me.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah. What about you? You knew a little bit Tagalog, right?
Yeah.
Back in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Did you grow up with a big Filipino community or not so much?
Yeah, I went to international school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there was
Cool.
Filipinos there. But I mean, just like being, around, my mom knows, and like church, obviously. And there are like Filipinos everywhere. Church.
That's true.
On Sunday,
So
so
they
like,
all
all
pop
area,
up.
yeah.
Yeah.
And afterwards, you eat some Shanghai lumpia and
Hey.
adobo and rice. Oh, I'm so hungry.
I know.
Were y'all forced to go to church as a kid?
Of course.
Of course.
Me too. Yeah. I tried to play sick, but it didn't work. Yeah, I remember I did, like.
My mom's like, there's 1 hour out of the
Yeah.
week. You
Yeah.
just pray to God.
Yeah.
When he's not asking you for as much, you have to go.
Yeah, it makes me feel. Oh, I feel bad now. Like it's so weird. Like an hour is like two episodes of a show.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn. I don't know. I just remember that, and then
When you think of it like that.
yeah, and I remember like I'd always go, but then at a certain age, I started working, and I was work on Sundays, and I go on the special occasions, Christmas, Easter.
I'll go whenever like my family goes. Like
Yeah.
even if they're like visiting, I'll go with them on Sunday.
Mm.
It's just like being with family is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like faith, like it's definitely still a part of my life.
Yeah.
With my schedule, sometimes I don't make it to church. I feel like it's a more personal thing
Yeah.
for me. I'm like, God's not going to smite me, even though my tita might think otherwise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still try to make it when I can. Yeah.
Did you all eat meat yesterday? I did.
Oh shoot!
I did. I did. I feel bad. And on Ash Wednesday too.
my mom's.
Usually I get notifications
philosophy
on
that.
I get
oh,
texts.
you put it.
Yeah, or no, I have a group chat and my parents would usually say, no meat today. I didn't get one, so.
My mom's philosophy is if you didn't do it on purpose, then it's fine.
Well, in that case, I mean, I guess I didn't mean to have pepperoni pizza yesterday. I didn't mean to have a sandwich yesterday, but
Can we talk about what we all gave up?
Yeah, sure.
Well,
You can tell the story.
Yeah.
I gave up, well, because like I have allergies, so like I had to adopt a new lifestyle already and cut out gluten and dairy. So I'm like, that's my Lent because it's already hard for me. What are you getting?
You can ask how you asked me, and it was just not expected.
So I wish I could just send the screenshot. You could just edit it over this right now. But like I was like, oh, what are you giving up?
I mean, I was just being super honest. I was like, I'm giving up porn.
I was just like, whoa, I'm like talking about gluten and dairy. And it's just like,
No, I thought of
this
that.
took a left turn.
I thought of that.
Do it for Jesus.
I was like, oh, this is probably really good for Jesus and like my ancestors. They're not like seeing anything.
You know.
For 40 days, I could do it.
Yeah, you know what? There's that. Yeah, I thought of giving up. Like, I mean, I don't drink much and party as much, but I do it once in a while. It kind of slides in. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna stop.
It like creeps up, and I'm
Creeps
like, all
up.
right. I guess I
But,
don't really need this. So like,
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. I thought of doing that too. I had a previous podcast where I spoke with a guy. He's from New Zealand, and he's about harm reduction with drugs and alcohol.
Okay.
Stands up against domestic abuse, rape culture, and on that topic, porn came up, and the problematic things it can have on younger people,
Yeah.
and just people in general.
Also, just like having those images in your brain, and then like it kind of formulates of like what you like and don't like. So it's like, oh, I guess I like this is something I don't need.
Yeah, I think people need to realize the difference between that and like real intimacy, because that's like movie scripted stuff, and then real intimacy is like in real life. And I think when you blur those lines and there's no consent and there's no respect, that's when it's bad. But back to Lent.
Whole different topic.
Yeah,
like, talk to girls, we get it. We don't need that stuff, okay?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I mean, I'm not judging the girls who do, but I'm just like, we know connection.
Yeah.
Y'all guys.
Yeah.
Give it up for Lent.
We need to unravel the toxic masculinity that's ingrained in our society. But anyways, deeper topic. But yeah, Lent. I think I'm just gonna give up I think party as much. I asked my coworker. He said giving up being a jerk or trying to be a jerk. But it's been like Mardi Gras was like last week, last Tuesday. Did y'all go to Ash Wednesday Mass? I didn't either. It's okay.
We posted about it.
Yeah. I mean, with work is just so hard.
It's hard.
Our schedule is 9
9
a.m. to 7 p.m.
Are you serious?
I work after as well,
Wow.
so it's just like
Sometimes I work more during lunch and like.
Okay.
it's a grind.
This is a great topic to get to segue into. What's your day-to-day like? Seems like you work 9 to 7 every day.
I mean, I'm in the office sometimes like 8:30 because I like to just get settled in.
And that's not even when he wakes up, y'all. This guy's morning goals.
I love waking up in the morning, and so like I wake up like averages out to like around 6:30. I work out, make breakfast, then go to work, and then come home by like 7, and I sleep by like 10:30. Like I need 7 hours of sleep minimum.
That's good.
Yeah.
Sleep is big. Sleep is very important. How about you?
So I wake up around 7:30, and I really want to adopt more of a morning routine. So start off on the right step. But until then, I get ready in 30 minutes. It takes about 45 minutes to get to work. I'm at the desk all day. Luckily, my desk is pretty light work. I answer the phones and schedule things sometimes, but I spend the day writing and then after I do Lyft, so I'm on the roads.
Right.
Yeah, and then I'm usually home around like 10, 11.
Yeah, I've met so many Uber and Lyft drivers that have really interesting jobs and use Lyft and Uber's like, a cushion, it's like extra money. And I met a lot of creatives, and it's really cool. I'm glad that came about because I don't drive. I know how to drive. I don't have a car. I don't want to drive. It's very convenient. But yeah, mornings are great for me. Like, it's tough sometimes to wake up, especially when it's been cold recently. But I feel like, morning step, it's like you start off early. This is the time to kind of if you wake up early enough, you don't have to rush. It's really nice. against Catholicism, not against it, but I do Buddhism chants like 5-10 minutes a day when I can. It helps to center me and stuff. I guess it's similar to praying.
I meditate at night before I go to sleep.
That's good.
Yeah, like guided meditation.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Like on your phone?
Yeah, it's like there's an app called Insight Timer, and it's just
I
free.
love that.
Yeah,
She
like,
showed me.
yeah, it's like
Check that out.
So I'll do
totally
it on my
100%
lunch
free.
breaks.
Yeah, there's just like 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour. Like there's so many different
I
ones.
gotta check that out.
I do like the usually 10 minutes and go to sleep, and it works.
Wow, so y'all have a pretty loaded schedule, and on top of work, you do what you like. That's really cool. How important was it for y'all to kind of, keep the Filipino culture or traditions alive within you? Because you're famous for second generation, and with you, it's like you're not full on Filipino.
Yeah.
How important was it for y'all to keep that instilled within you?
It was really important. I think this is the whole reason why I was drawn to this project personally, because I never had such an in-depth experience with my culture. I only got it when I went to my grandparents, and even then you kind of take it for granted because you're surrounded by this American life, which is great. It's such a blessing, but now I have this yearning. I visited the Philippines in 2012, and I had such a great time meeting family I would have never otherwise met, and I want to go back, and it just awakened that curiosity of like, wow, like if my grandpas never came, like this is where I would be, and this is like just to be surrounded by your people. You're just like, whoa, and you're just like, who am I? Like, where am I from?
Right.
And so this project is almost an exploration of that for me, and bringing an awareness to the fil-ams that don't have, and Filipinos that don't have that connection either, because it's actually common for us, for the fil-ams and Filipino youth, to not know the language.
Yeah.
It's like I thought it was just me, and I felt like I was ashamed of my culture, but it's surprisingly an epidemic.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, it's just, I think it's so important to, like you said, representation, and we really want to highlight through Pinoy News Update our culture with a lot of people who don't know, even just who are not Filipinos. People are like, oh wow, like you're doing like a news program, and it's like so interesting to hear from who are non-Filipinos about our program, and their curiosity just peaks. But in terms of like, I also have like relatives who are just like don't fully embrace their Filipino heritage, or in terms of like, oh, they're like, oh, we worked hard here, and we're here, and I call them like Tito Trump, Tita Trump, because they voted for Trump, and I'm like, you're Filipino, and you're an immigrant, and you voted for the worst president ever, and I'm like, no, it's like, it's important to like highlight, and that's why I think Pinoy News Update's like, we should be proud of our heritage, we're proud of where we're from, and just be badass Pinoys.
I'm surprised at how many relatives voted or like him. I'm not surprised. I'm shocked. But that's their view. I respect that. We'll talk about it off air.
Yeah.
But same here, because I didn't really fully embrace it. I mean, I lived a good amount of time in the Bay, and my high school years were like in Walnut Creek and Alamo, and there's not much Filipino culture there. So I didn't really identify. You had like all the kids in Chinatown. Chinatown now, but those are like that culture that represent those people. They're like, that was my Asian experience.
Right.
Other than that, nope, nowhere else. You had some Cal High kids, yeah, but San Ramon, but no one else. So to me, like, I majored in Asian American Studies, so I have.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
Thank you.
That's really cool.
I regained a love for it, because to me, like you said, I took it for granted. I was born in the Philippines, came here when I was 7. At that time, it wasn't about keeping traditions, more like you said, assimilating. Like, forget that. You got to learn this. I lost a lot of Tagalog and Kapampangan through it. I still remember it, but it's really difficult to even like get that back. So yeah, I definitely agree. It's nice to have that culture in the background outside of just family, and it's cool to be proud of it, right? Back then, like, oh, you got dogs and you eat balut, but now it's like, well, I don't eat dogs and I eat balut, but it's now like being more appreciated. We can be proud of it now. You see, we're not just in nurses and nursing homes and hospitals. We're out there in the entertainment industry. So I totally get that.
Yeah,
We're
I'm
proud to be
really excited.
Pinoys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The stories are gonna be out there.
Exactly. And I mean, look at our
Barong.
barongs. They're
Yeah.
so badass.
I don't have one.
You have to. They're so cool. And also, it's like during the summer when it's hot, you're like, instead of a collar shirt, you wear this.
Mm.
Just breezy.
Y'all have cool
And they're so
ones.
stylish.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, like he has like a whole
I have a
collection.
whole collection.
I've only seen the plain white ones.
Those
I've never
ones are
seen-
cool too because they have
I've
like
never seen
designs.
I
I've never
know,
seen
right?
the colored ones before.
Oh,
so
yeah.
seeing those, I'm like, they make
Yeah,
those?
he
Shout
had the
out
idea.
to-
He was like, we should like look up like barongs because like I saw a special barong that you
Mhm.
had, and I was just like, oh, we should Google, and we
Yeah.
found barongs are us, and
What?
then
Yeah, there's
it's
Are you serious?
it's a site,
Yeah.
Wow.
and yeah, we found these colors and we were like, oh my god,
This is
what
so
perfect
perfect.
colors.
Cool.
flag.
This is our brand.
Very nice. Before we end it, what are your favorite Filipino foods and why?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Mine is pusit adobo.
Really?
Like, there's a small pusit.
Squid.
Yeah, squid. And it's just so good.
I've never had that. I've never heard of it.
You've never had that before? I could eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I like warmed it up at my house, and everyone's like, "What's the smell?"
You still need to bring me some.
Yes, I will.
I love adobo.
What kind?
The chicken. My grandma's specifically.
Right.
Both my
Everyone's
grandmas.
grandma is the best cooking. I'm not gonna argue.
And I had a Filipino babysitter when I was younger, and actually, this is just coming back to me. I got exposed to dinuguan.
Mhm.
She would feed it to me and call it chocolate meat, so I
Oh,
literally thought it was
wow.
chocolate meat. Oh my god, her puto was the best.
Mhm.
But my number one is arroscaldo.
Oh, and I also had a Filipino baby sitter when I was growing up, and yeah, she arroz caldo. She made it, and it was like that's like chicken soup for us. It's like I would eat it whenever if it's like feeling down or
Right.
sick, or
Right.
and you're on a rainy day, you're like, oh,
Right.
we could go for that right now, like her specifically.
I know, I
Yeah.
want it, and with the crispy garlic
Oh,
too.
yes.
Oh, yes.
Right. I want to clarify for the audience. Puto is a bread. We're not calling you puto. Puto, hey puto. We're talking about
Oh,
bread.
yeah, yeah.
I just want to say it's the bread, right? It's bread, right?
Yeah.
We're not. This is not the
It's
derogatory.
like a little cake.
Okay,
Yeah, little butter cake.
I like putos.
So
Th-
good.
those putos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those
I just want to
putos.
clarify that because it's also a derogatory term in Spanish. So
Yes.
shout out to
I
the
wonder if there's
Latinx community.
because it's weird because there's such a connection between the Spanish community and the Filipino. Like, I wonder why like it's called puto.
I bet you they're like, oh, let's like be fucking trolls and call this bread puto and get them upset and call it puto. Hey puto, I mean talk the bread. My favorite is kare kare. That
Oh.
is hands down my
So
favorite.
good.
Yes.
I think the fact that it's hard to cook. I heard it takes hours. It's oxtail.
Yeah.
To me that is awesome. So my grandma makes it. I feel really special.
Mhm.
Adobo obviously for sure. Arroz caldo is good. I like bullet though.
You do like
I
bullet.
do.
Wow.
Did you grow up on
I
it?
did.
Oh,
I
that's
grew up
why,
when I was.
yeah.
I grew up there until I was 7. I have it once a year at New Year's Eve or New Year's Day at my aunt's.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, cool.
It's like a tradition, huh?
Yeah, that.
What would you
see-
say like the taste is like?
Okay, so I mean, like, I think if you can eat chicken,
Yeah.
you can eat it. It just looks weird, right? The soup is good. It's very soft. The chicken is not developed yet,
Yeah.
so where you can feel the bones. It has developed some hair and some look more developed than others. But hey, man, you just crack that open, put some salt, and you just like,
Slurp it.
yeah,
So,
man.
what's the tradition behind it? Like, why New Year's Day?
For me, I think it's just for my family.
Ah.
My grandfather's sister, I don't know what you call those, your tita, your Lola. She always brought it. She used to host New Year's Day at her apartment. Like a bunch of Filipinos from all over LA go to her small apartment. Now I moved to my aunt's place, but she'd always bring it. She'd always have it. She'd go to the not Ranch 99 or Seafood City. She would go to a Vietnamese market because she says like their balut is really good. It's better than the other places.
Oh yeah, because it's in Vietnamese culture too. Like, it's not just
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Filipino
Oh.
Yeah.
specific. Like, they have it.
I don't know what they call it there, but yeah, that's why. And I have it there, and I don't go out of my way to have it.
Yeah.
It's expensive and it's different. You should only have like 1 to 3 max at a sitting because there's so much sodium and protein.
Yeah.
But it tastes good. Now I understand why no one would want to eat it because it looks gross and you see a face to the animal you're consuming.
I remember, I think I tried it and I just swallowed it whole. Like I didn't chew it or anything. I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
Just to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it looks very intimidating, so I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's pretty much it. Rice. Oh, spam, eggs, and rice, and the banana ketchup.
Jufran.
Yeah, UFC.
Oh, I
Jufran.
love Jufran.
Yeah, but so where can we find y'all on social media and Instagram and all that?
So our Instagram is at Pinoy News Update. We have a YouTube channel as well. You might need to, just because we're building our viewership, need to type in Pinoy News Update and then one of our names, like full names, Thomas Ireton or Nina Gosiengfiao.
But we have a website, so.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Which is
HTTP, the regular beginning, PinoyNewsUpdate.wixsite.com/connect.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I will have that in the link. Thank you both for being here. Salamat. Salamat. That means thank you. Oh, please. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks for
Appreciate it.
having
Thank you,
us.
Vaughn.
No
It was so
problem.
good to
Awesome.
meet
Yeah, good to
you.
meet you.